There are a ton of rods available on the market. Some are expensive and some are cheap. Sometimes you get what you pay for, and other times they're overpriced. Because of this, I want to help you dial in on my favorite rod for chatterbait fishing. So I've been fishing the chatterbait for a long time now. I've fished it in Texas, I've fished it in California, I've fished it in Arizona, Nevada, I've fished it in a lot of different places. I've fished it with a bunch of different rods over the years as well, but there are certain things that make one rod better than the other when it comes to chatterbait fishing. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about some of the things that I look for when choosing a chatterbait specific rod, and then also at the end I'm going to explain specifically which rod I use for my chatterbait fishing. Down in the video description, I've got links to the specific stuff that I'll be talking about today, from the rod, the reel, the line, the chatterbaits that I use, and the trailers that I use as well. There's going to be discount codes down there as well, so make sure to check everything out, take advantage of those discount codes, and please use those links so that way the companies that I send you to know that I sent you. So one of the first things that I look for when it comes to a chatterbait rod is the length. What I'm looking for is a rod that's between 7.1 and 7.3. That 7.1 to 7.3 is short enough that's going to allow me to make nice accurate casts. I'm going to be able to skip that chatterbait if I want to, but it's also long enough to really help me make those long casts. Making long casts is really important when you're covering grass flats or you're just running bank trying to cover a lot of water. Having that shorter rod is going to negatively impact you when it comes to casting distance. That longer rod allows you to cast a little bit further. However, the longer that you get, the less accuracy that you're going to have. So if you're going out there with a 7-11 rod throwing the chatterbait, you might be able to wing it a mile, but you're probably not going to be able to put it exactly where you want it every single time. That longer rod's also going to make it really, really difficult to skip, and sometimes you need to skip that chatterbait underneath stuff in order to get it where those fish are. So the next thing that I'm looking for with the chatterbait rod is the whip in it, or that moderate to fast taper. That moderate to fast taper is crucial when it comes to the chatterbait. When you have a rod with that nice moderate to fast taper, you're going to be able to feel that whip, especially when you get that chatterbait hooked up and ready to cast. You're going to be able to feel that chatterbait just kind of explode off that rod tip when you're casting it. But with still having some of that faster action in that rod, it's still going to be sensitive enough, stiff enough in that tip to be sensitive to feel it hit grass, hit brush, hit rocks, to feel the difference between the cover and a bite. Having something that's sensitive enough to feel all those different things underneath the water is crucial, especially when you're practicing or you're trying to go out there and figure out what the pattern is. If you can't tell the difference between the grass, brush, or rock, then you're not going to be able to dial in specifically what those fish are relating to. You want to know if you're around that grass, so that way you can replicate that pattern, or if you're bouncing it off of rocks, you want to know if those fish are in the rocks, so that way you can run that pattern in different places in the lake and try to put the best day together possible. Another thing that's really important about having a little bit of that stiffness in the rod is just for those situations when you're fishing it around grass. You're going to want to be able to rip that chatterbait out of the grass, because that's going to generate a lot of reaction strikes. A lot of times the chatterbait kind of gets stuck in that grass just a little bit, and you pop it out of there, and that's when those fish react to it and they go and eat it. A lot of times it's not a feeding strike, it's just a reaction, because they see that thing coming through and then it's darting away, and then that's when they eat it. So if you have a rod that's too soft, once you hit that grass, it's not going to be able to rip through it, and you're going to end up dragging that chatterbait essentially through that grass. And once you get it through the grass, you're just going to have a big clump on there, and it's not going to come out clean. When you have the right type of rod and you rip it out of there, it rips all that grass off the chatterbait, and you get a nice clean chatterbait, and you're able to finish reeling that bait throughout that cast, and you're not wasting time, and you're much more efficient. So having that mod fast action, which has that softer tip but decent backbone, is crucial for not only setting the hook but also fighting the fish back to the boat. That softer tip's going to allow you to have a little bit of a delay in noticing that you're getting that bite. So that way it really allows that fish to get the chatterbait. So that way when you set the hook and take advantage of that backbone, that bait is in that fish's mouth, and now that backbone is going to allow you to get good hook penetration and get that fish back to the boat. That mod fast action is also going to allow you to play that fish a little bit in order to keep it from pulling out the hook, because a lot of times if you have too stiff of a rod with that chatterbait, you end up pulling that chatterbait out of the fish's mouth. Could create a hole in the fish's mouth, but somehow that hook ends up coming out. And I think a lot of times it's because we actually pull the hook out of the fish's mouth rather than the hook not going into the fish as well. Essentially what I've been telling you guys is if you're using the wrong rod for a chatterbait, it's going to result in a lot of lost fish. So we're about to get to the specific rod that I use for my chatterbait fishing, but I want to talk to you guys about Waterland fishing optics real quick. Waterland is the sunglasses that I'm wearing right now. They make awesome polarized fishing sunglasses in both polycarbonate and glass lenses. I like these Hybros for on and off the water. I'm wearing the Hybros most of the time off the water, but when I'm just going fun fishing or it's not sight fishing or anything like that, got no problem bringing them out on the water with me as well. Head over to the waterlandco.com website. check out all the different stuff they have. They have the sun shirts like this, the hats like I'm wearing right now, and a bunch of different frame options. Use my discount code, it's Luna15. It'll save you 15% off. Again, that's waterlandcode.com. Discount code is Luna15. So guys, now we're gonna start talking about the specific rod that I use for my chatterbait fishing. I'm using the 7.2 medium heavy mod fast action ESP model from 6 Cents. This rod comes in at $174.99. I do have a 10% discount code, which will take a little bit off of that. It's Luna10. So if you shop at the 6 Cents website, use my discount code Luna10. It's gonna save you a little bit of money, and then they're gonna know that I sent you over there as well. This rod encompasses everything that I've just been talking about in this video. This rod is not something that I stumbled upon myself. My buddy Justin got this rod for himself as well, started throwing chatterbaits on it and just raved about it. So I switched over from my 7.3 Divine rod that I've been using for chatterbaits and spinnerbaits for a long time and put a chatterbait on this 7.2 ESP, and haven't gone back, to be honest with you guys. I just feel like I get a lot more of that hunting action out of my chatterbait using this rod, which is super key. You want that erratic action out of your chatterbait. And I really feel like, you know, pairing it up with this 6 Cents Juggle minnow trailer and having the right rod allows this chatterbait to just give off a lot more action that I was getting before. So another thing that I really like about this rod isn't that it's a great chatterbait rod, but it's also good for other stuff as well. One of the other things that I throw on this rod a lot is the Crush 75X flat side square bill crankbait from 6 Cents. I've done some trips over at the lower Colorado River out of Martinez, and in the wintertime, they like to eat that flat-sided crankbait, and this 7.2 ESP medium heavy mod fast is perfect for those bigger square bill crankbaits. So guys, if you are looking for a chatterbait rod, look no further than this 6 Cents Fishing 7'2" ESP medium heavy in that mod fast action. This rod has put a ton of fish in the boat all over the place for me. I think it's gonna work really, really well for you guys. And I think it just gives you a lot of versatility as well. Head over to the 6 Cents Fishing website, check it out for yourself. And if you buy anything, make sure to use my discount code Luna10. It'll save you 10% off. And if you guys wanna see me using this rod, catching fish on a chatterbait, make sure to click on the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.